How you doing, Kristen? You seem like a busy gal.
All right, thank you. All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Amateur Astronomer Association of Pittsburgh's February presentation and business meeting for February 13th, 2026. I thank you all for joining us tonight, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to John Weskovich if you would like to introduce our general speaker for February.
Sure, happy to. So our speaker for this month is Mig Ponce. Mig lives in Las Vegas, Nevada, and has been a lifelong astronomy buff since his grandmother got him a subscription to Odyssey, a kid's astronomy magazine in the early 80s. He's the current president of the Las Vegas Astronomical Society, and he has a fun side hustle, the Stardust Astro Tours, doing dark sky telescope tours in southern Nevada. He's inviting our members to reach out anytime they're in the Las Vegas area to go astronomizing. And the title of our talk for today is going to be The Messier Marathon, Astronomy's Accidental Extreme Sport.
Great. Thank you, John. I'm going to share my screen here. Okay, and everyone can see it?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And with that, we will get started. Thank you, everyone from 3AP. I love that abbreviation for it. I appreciate being invited to come here today. I'm here because we did a neat little exchange with Rich Dawlish from your program, who spoke with our group last year about his veterans program that you all had been working on. So that was a really, really neat presentation, and I offered to do this in return. This particular presentation, I know a lot of us already know some about Messier marathons, but I've done a very big deep dive into a lot of aspects about them. So even if you've been around the block, hopefully you will find something new and interesting here. As John mentioned, I am the current president of Las Vegas Astronomical Society. One thing that I will show you here is this is my slide that I show in our meetings, because when I start the meetings, we have a lot of new people, and I just want to say, this is who I am. So I'm the cruise director for our own meetings, and I show this slide. But again, thank you for letting me be here. I am now in my second term as president of Las Vegas Astronomical Society, and we're a smallish club. We have probably about 150 paid members, and then our monthly events, we get a few hundred people from the public every month coming to our star parties, which is a lot of fun. One thing I will also mention is, as you may have noticed from my first slide, I know that opinion is divided about AI art. I like to use it generally for comedic effect, and it's very obvious that it is AI generated art. So you'll see some of that in here. A great example right here. Tonight's presentation, what we're going to look at, just kind of a roadmap for tonight, is we're going to look at Charles Messier and his catalog. Then I'm going to talk about the marathon itself, which your club has a very interesting connection to its history. Then preparing for a marathon, then the actual experience. So I'm going to kind of deep dive into that, and then some things for what to do after a Messier marathon. So first, who was Charles Messier? I think many people, if not most, have heard of him. He's one of the more famous astronomers in history. He was a pioneer of deep sky astronomy in the 18th century, so kind of middle to late 1700s. He was an avid comet hunter. In his lifetime, he discovered 13 of them, and he observed nearly 50 comets total. This was during a time when most astronomers were lucky to find even one. Although he is perhaps best known for his different contribution to astronomy is his catalog, the Messier catalog of 110 faint fuzzies, and we will look at how that evolved. His early life was, he was born in 1730, and at the age of 11, he left school after losing his father to work and support the family. So he was working early in his childhood. And despite this, despite poverty and his limited education, it is documented that his mother encouraged his curiosity in science. This was really spearheaded by when he saw the Great Comet of 1744 at age 14. And as a teenager, he went to Paris to pursue astronomy. This was a 250-mile journey, and it is documented that it was a 9-day trip on foot, so before modern transportation. By the age of 21, he had secured a position with Nicolas Delisle, who was the astronomer of the French Navy. And it is under those auspices that he really grew and developed as an astronomer. His early observatory work there was at the Hôtel de Cluny, and he very early in his career developed significant observational techniques and record-keeping skills. And this, again, was all pre-computer era by far, so it was all hand-recorded in notebooks and logs. He was the first to spot Halley's Comet's return to France. And again, he discovered 13 comets, co-discovered 7 more, and so he earned the nickname or title. His later astronomical career was marked by creating very detailed logs and kind of pioneering search patterns, and also precise star charts for how to track things. And so he was elected to the French Academy of Sciences and the Royal Society. This established the Hôtel de Cluny in Paris as a major astronomy center. But as we know, he is most known for his famous catalog, which is arguably the most famous catalog of celestial objects and presents us with a very well-known challenge. The Hôtel de Cluny, at the time, this was its appearance in the 2 drawings on the left. This is from what I could dig up about what it looked like. On the right is a photograph of what it looks like now. And I believe that the observatory itself was at the top of that tower. So we can still see that tower there in the main picture on the right. Currently, it is an art museum focused on art of the Middle Ages. Observing then, this was another interesting thing to think about, because Paris was very large, it was very bustling. It was the largest city in continental Europe, it and London, had a population at the time of around 500,000 people. So some comparison cities, modern day, are Fresno, California, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Toledo, Ohio, Boise, Idaho. It was a major cultural and scientific center, and it was at the time quite crowded with buildings of up to 6 stories. Things that we now take for granted were still at the time limited in availability, namely lighting and water, even though it was quite the thriving metropolis at the time. Messier's equipment were a 4-inch refractor. He had some other small refractors, typically powered at 120 power magnification. And then he had, as seen on the right, it's a 7.5-inch reflector at about 100 power. A couple interesting things about these are that the eyepieces were fixed. They did not have the interchangeable eyepieces that we do. So they had constant magnification and a very narrow field of view. And we all can appreciate our wonderful ethos eyepieces now and things like that. But at the time, this was the best they could do. But they were still groundbreaking and seeing things that people had never imagined before. The mirrors at the time were metal and not glass like our mirrors nowadays, and generally poor quality. So it is estimated, because they couldn't test, the technique for testing mirror quality had not yet been invented. So by everyone's best estimation, an 8-inch reflector is equivalent to the quality of about a 2.5 to 3.5-inch refractor. So the best guess is that his equipment was probably equal to having a 4-inch reflector today. Then there are conflicting speculations how bad the light pollution was. They did have public lighting with oil lamps on ropes, and the city was lit at night. In the documentation that I read, candle lighter was a very sought after job at the time. And this is the person who went around at dusk lighting all the city candles. There was regular pollution from factories and heating and cooking. Gas lighting did not come until later, after Messier's time, and electric until a century later. So those two weren't factors, but still the oil lamps were definitely a factor. There was high humidity, low transparency. This was also located in the middle of a city. So there were definitely pollution factors, but despite this, they didn't really have the concept of light pollution. And it was, we think, relatively low by modern standards, although opinion is a bit divided on that. Some things that I've read, people have, because it has been speculated on what it was like in that time. Some people say that smoke would have been negligible. Some people say that people would have gone to bed early and turned lights off. Other people have argued that it still would have posed problems during the night. Another reason why some think that the light pollution might have been bad was that he found a relatively low number of deep sky objects, and he missed some that people think he perhaps should have picked up, probably the best known being the double cluster in Perseus. There's ongoing speculation as to why he didn't include that one. Compared to William Herschel, who was only slightly younger and cataloged 7,500 objects, that's an interesting comparison there. Herschel's first catalog was only 5 years after Messier's final catalog. So all in all, in conclusion about that, his setup was not great, but it was the best he could do. He was still quite the pioneer. And despite that, even today, a small telescope, even binoculars, particularly big astronomy binoculars, would be superior. Which gets us to, why did he compile his catalog? This is fairly well known, but it still is kind of an interesting little quirk. This original purpose of his catalog was, it was a list of his false positives. As an avid comet hunter, he found the faint fuzzies and would get excited when he would see these. Then the next day he would go back to track where this comet went, and it had not moved. So he made a catalog of essentially his false positives because this was frustrating him. His first version of the catalog contained 45 objects. His last version contained 103. Excuse me. And in later years, astronomers pieced together another 7 using his logbooks. So it's generally accepted now that his catalog contains 110. Each one of these is its own interesting, unique entity, and they also have distinct observational challenges. There are 4 types of faint fuzzies in the Messier catalog. And the first type is globular star clusters. We all know what those are. Those make up about 27% of the catalog. There are open clusters, which make up about 25% of the catalog. Nebulae make up about 13% of the catalog. And then, interestingly to me, galaxies were the most numerous thing in the catalog, about 37% of the catalog. This is a quick low-grade nerd test. Can anybody, and feel free to just shout these out, can anybody identify these? Let's say, what's the top left one by Messier number?
M5.
It's M15, or M13, excuse me. This next one?
M31.
31.
And 2 and 110.
Yep, and M32 and 110, yes. Next one in the top middle.
M1?
M1, yes. And then?
M45.
M45.
45, yes. The ring here at the top right?
57?
Yes, 57. Bottom left galaxy?
51.
Yes. Then the next one, this planetary?
27.
27, yes.
You dumbbell.
Yes. And then this last one, probably the trickier one on this list.
M20.
M20, yes.
That's
Good
a
job.
tricky year.
Let's do the whole list.
That would be kind of fun. Do some flashcards and then see which ones you can pull from visual. So his catalog, this picture on the left is his illustration of the Orion Nebula. And his first publication, there's a quote from it, is from 1771. Something that I thought was really interesting looking at this is that he only recorded clusters, nebulae, and spiral nebulae because he did not know what a galaxy was. The concept and term globular cluster was only coined later by William Herschel. He had called them nebulae because he could not resolve the stars in them. And the concept of a galaxy external to our own was not confirmed until 1924, just over 100 years ago. So as Messier was looking around at things, he found the faint fuzzies. He recorded them as clusters, nebulae, and spiral nebulae, which I thought was very interesting. There's definitely a Northern Hemisphere bias because he was in Paris. He would not be able to see further south than 42 degrees south declination. His southernmost object is a well-known ancient open cluster between Scorpius and Sagittarius, and that would have been just barely above the horizon for him. The evolution of his catalog were when he first started it in 1758. It was his first entry into the catalog, Messier 1. Now we know that is the Crab Nebula. Over time and over years, he added to his list and did not publish it until 1771 with 45 objects. He had discovered 18 of the 45. Within another 10 years, he had added up to 103 objects, and he had personally discovered 40 of them. His final observations were in 1783. His final comet he discovered in 1801 at age 70. In 1817, he passed away at age 86, and he was honored specifically by Napoleon, but he was in failing health. He had bad eyesight and a stroke that left him partially paralyzed and gout. So not a fun time for him. In the mid-1900s, astronomers added the final 7 objects based on his personal notes. One year that I thought was very interesting for him was 1781. This is all that happened in that 1 year for him, is that he cataloged M82, M100, and then 101 to M03 from his assistant Michon to get his final list together. He added M104, discovered 105 and 106, and discovered what would later be known as 108 and 109. In this year, Herschel discovered the planet Uranus. Messier got the memo. He did look at it in this busy year. His assistant Michon discovered 2 comets. And then, this was the bummer of it, he suffered a 25-foot fall into an ice cellar, which confined him to bed for more than a year. And this is well documented in his life, and that is definitely quite a misfortune to befall him, but he kept going. His lasting legacy and achievements in astronomy have earned him various honors and recognition. He also has a lunar crater named after him, and an asteroid that was discovered in 1996 is named after him, both as a testament to his legacy. But his catalog really is the lasting big gift from his lifetime and career. His final resting place is in the cemetery in Paris. And there's an interesting Las Vegas connection to here, in that for years his grave was kind of overrun by vegetation and very inconspicuous. But if you are familiar with a group, this is a husband and wife duo called Galactic Hunter that teaches amazing online astrophotography courses. They now live in France. They moved there last year, but they were local here to Las Vegas. And they led a campaign to raise funds to do a quarterly cleaning and maintenance of his grave. And it raised enough money to cover quarterly cleaning for at least another 25 years. And these are before and after pictures of the grave, before on the left being kind of overrun with vegetation, on the right looking much nicer, much cleaner, and now with a plaque there. So moving on to what is the marathon, the crux of what we're talking about tonight. The marathon is a one-night sprint to see all 110 objects. This is possible for a few weeks in the spring, right around the spring equinox. There also is a secondary window later in the year, but it's a harder search sequence. So spring is really seen as the time to do it. And the best time is to coincide it with when the moon will least interact between mid-March to early April. So why do we do this to ourselves? There are a few reasons. One of them is to learn the sky faster than we could with any book or app. Another one, pressure is a motivator, and this really helps hone navigation and observation skills. It's very experiential at its rawest. And then I kind of made the joke here that shared suffering builds community. It's a lot of fun to run these marathons with other people. Also, we're human. We kind of like weird endurance challenges, and we can't discount that Charles Messier would be a little confused by it all. But that said, we also do it because we might actually pull it off, and then we can talk about it forever. It's really, really quite an accomplishment. Who is it for, and can anyone and everyone do it? Yes, it is for everyone. If you're a beginner, give it a shot. If you're more advanced, definitely a way to continue growing and developing your skills. If you're very advanced, there are some interesting variations to try, which we'll talk about kind of towards the end. And I do like to tell the people in our own club, if you are brand new to astronomy or don't have a scope, ask somebody if you can do a ride along. And we have had people come out just to be along for the ride and do the experience. And it's been very eye-opening for them, and it gets them excited too. Talking about how this challenge came about, this has the very interesting angle with your club. So in the late 70s, there were a few independent people and clubs that realized that this can be done. All 110 objects can be observed in one night right around the March new moon. And in 1977 to 79, and we'll do a little deep dive into this, some members from your club, Tom Ryland and Tom Hoffelder, worked out the feasibility independently and kind of coordinated with each other and discussed it. And they did the first early runs of this. And then also known comet hunter Don Mackholtz, who passed away in 2022, he independently came up with it also. So these three individuals are cited as the primary figures who created the concept. It is documented that Tom Hoffelder found 101 objects in 1977 trying a marathon. Tom Ryland found 107 in 1979, and Mackholtz found 107 also in 1979. Also in 1979, the March issue of Sky and Telescope published the concept in its Deep Sky Wonders column, and I have a screenshot of that I will show you in a moment. This is the first time it appeared in print to widely disseminate the idea. So this is where it really started to get people understanding that as a concept, you could do this. So in the 80s, astronomy clubs started hosting Messier marathons. The first documented one is the Saguaro Astronomy Club in Phoenix, Arizona in 1981. And I did just find a March 79 copy of Sky and Telescope online on eBay, and I ordered it, but it's not here yet. I want my own copy and picture of it, but I do have a photo of the column. This is a really interesting relic online that is from the Sky and Telescope website. And so this is a postcard sent from Walter Scott Houston, who did that column in Sky and Telescope, postcard to Tom Hoffelder, talking about this marathon concept. And there is a YouTube video online with Tom Hoffelder talking about how he had written to Walter Scott Houston and didn't hear back for about a year and a half. So I will pause for a moment here because this is a transcription of what it says on the postcard from Walter Scott Houston to Tom Hoffelder. And I won't read the entire thing, but he basically says, "Hey, sorry, I was away on vacation. Now I'm getting back to you. I'm realizing it's been a year. I've got a time crunch because we could talk about this thing in the March issue, which is the right time for your marathon, but I need to get this to print soon. Can you tell me some more about your doing it?" So it's really, really interesting. And I love that this is a piece of history and an artifact that is available for us to see and really understand kind of the beginning stages of it. The first time in print here in That Sky and Telescope, it really is just a little mention here toward the bottom where he said the Amateur Astronomers Association in Pittsburgh near the March equinox hold an informal competition to locate the most Messier objects during a single night. So he did not quite put the words Messier marathon together, but they are in the same sentence, and it is the first known documentation in print. Along with this, he published this chart that showed where the sun would be right around the equinox. So this is a slightly overcomplicated way of saying this is how you can do all 110 in one night. As we moved on into the 80s, 90s, and then into the current century, the challenge evolved. The first fully completed marathon was done by two astronomers in the same night in March 1985, the first being Jerry Ratley in Arizona, and the second one was another person, same night. In the 90s, there were just a few documented events, but it was growing as a club tradition. When it really took off was in the 2000s, namely the internet era. And this saw an explosion of interest, and it is documented that as many as 25 club participants at one of the clubs have gotten all 110 at an event. The kind of clearinghouse website for tracking things is an MIT website, their SEDS organization, and I have a link to that I'll show in a little bit. This tracks Messier marathons and stats. And if your club is going to run a Messier marathon, they have an email address there on that website that you can send the dates to and then send the results to later. And we did it last year. Our club has run marathons for a few years. Last year was the first year that we sent in our date and info to them, and they put it on there. So that was kind of fun to see us get our own mention on the SEDS site. So preparing for a marathon. What do you need for it? First of all, you need obviously a telescope with a good finder scope. A Telrad is very, very helpful for this. And larger apertures will help because you can see the fainter things more easily, as we know. Recommended, it's at least having a 6-inch diameter, although there's no hard and fast rule that you can't. If you're really ambitious, you could try it with smaller. I myself have a 10-inch Dobsonian that is my favorite scope, and that's the one that I use. Location is key. You want to choose the darkest location you can to maximize visibility of the faintest objects. And also, another bonus of being in the darkest location possible is you might pick up some of them with binoculars or a finder scope. Whereas if you're in a less dark place or a more light polluted place, your binoculars or finder scope may not be able to pick them up. You'll have a harder time looking for them anyway. Definitely skills and practice factor in. You want to practice over time and learn patterns, learn star hopping patterns, and you can practice all year round. The SEDS website has a month-by-month list that breaks it down into 10 to 12 objects each month to focus on, so you can get some good practice year-round. Also, it's kind of fun because if you take out friends during any of those months who are non-astronomer types, then if you follow that list, you've got a built-in list right there of some neat things to show them. You want to do a time, sunset, and weather check. Obviously, weather has the last say. Mother Nature always has the last say, but that's definitely going to make a difference. But particularly depending on your location, sunset time is going to be key because you want to be ready to observe as soon as it gets dark. The first few objects especially are tricky as it's getting dark. And I probably need to warn our own people more than I need to warn your club, but bring layers and warm clothing. Having a plan is definitely key also. And the sequences for these, there are a number of different sequences. And as I put this slide deck together, I found every sequence out there published that I could find because there are some about 5 or 6 different ones. I put them in a spreadsheet and compared them. And I came to the conclusion that there's not really a massive difference between them enough to make a significant difference in your observing. So find one, pick one. Charts and aids obviously are going to help. Mobile applications like mobile apps on your phone, particularly if you are new at it and learning the constellations, that's going to help also. This is a list of some of the really good resources and aids online. You're welcome to take a screenshot of this. And at the very top, I put the SEDS website. It's a very old school website. It just looks like ASCII text, but it is the big repository of history about the Messier Marathon and tracking stats. You can find checklists at the SEDS website. There's another URL for a checklist. Again, you're welcome to screenshot it or write it down. And if you just do an internet search for Messier Marathon sequence or checklist, you'll find a bunch of these. Getting on to some physical media, Sky and Telescope publishes a Messier card, which is kind of fun, kind of helpful, doesn't hugely help you with locating them. But if you are tracking which ones you're looking at or kind of figuring out an overall sequence, then that is a nice little thing to have. It's only $7 from Shop at Sky. Then one thing that I really love is the Messier Observer's Planisphere. And you can find this online at various places. This is a very interesting one. We all have seen a planisphere, but this one specifically has all the Messier objects on it, plus a few dozen other bright, interesting objects like the double cluster and the Helix Nebula. I really love this one. The only thing with it is it's big. It's like large pizza-sized wheel. So it's a little awkward and bulky to bring out, but I really love this one because it's so clean and quick and easy and helpful to just look at it and say, oh, okay, if I'm practicing finding Messier objects, oh, look, this is about to set. Let me go for this one. I really like this one a lot. For finder charts to specifically help you, there are a couple options. On the left is the well-known and venerable SkySpot finder charts. These are a list of all the Messier objects from sky-spot.com, and they show a Telrad ring. So they're very, very helpful. Then on the right, there's a new deck that came out last year called Cosmic Shards. And what these show is, these show the Messier objects. They show a Telrad ring also. The difference is that these are on individual cards. Which one of these two is better? I think they're both good. And both of them, if you buy them, you're supporting a small independent astronomy business. The deck or the booklet on the left, the advantage of it is that it is bound, so you can't lose any. The disadvantage of it is that they come in numerical order. So you're going to have to be flipping around as you do the Messier Marathon. With the cards on the right, you can sequence them in Messier order. They also have the advantage of they show a drawing of what it's going to look like in the eyepiece. The disadvantage of these is I think the charts are a little harder to interpret. And because they're cards, if you drop your stack of cards, then you've got a separate little problem to deal with, or if you lose any. But I'm a fan of both of these as tools to use, so I recommend them both. And again, feel free to, if you want to write down the URL or take a screenshot, feel free. Cosmic Shards also just came out with a constellation deck that is really neat because even though we know most of the main constellations, it's got a lot of info on the cards that includes key deep sky objects. So I highly recommend patronizing them. I think they're great. On the left of this, in this shot, I've shown a couple books. On the left is Mac Holtz's Observing Guide to the Messier Marathon. This is considered to be kind of the modern authority on doing an actual marathon. It includes a sequence and detailed info. This book is out of print, but you can find used copies online. Definitely a good one to have. On the right, this one is not out of print, readily available online. Amazon has it. And this is by, again, Galactic Hunter, who is formerly of Las Vegas, the Messier Catalog Workbook. This is not so much oriented towards running a marathon, but it's oriented towards spotting and photographing all of them over time. These two books on the left, this is my particular favorite of all the 4 books. This one is called The Year-Round Messier Marathon, also out of print, and you can get used copies online. I would suggest if you're going to look for a used copy, do it soon. As of this week, I found a couple copies online for around $50 from book resellers, but more commonly they go for about $100. So do your shopping soon, especially as we head into Messier Marathon season. This particular book, I really like it because it includes the detailed charts and finder scope approximations, but the way it is set up to show you how to do it year round, it helps you jump into the cycle, but it just really steps you through the whole thing. So as you're running a marathon, if you complete seeing an object, then you just look and it's basically, it says, now turn to page 14. And you turn to page 14 and that shows your next couple of objects. So I think in a practical sense, this particular book, the Messier Marathon Field Guide, Year-Round Messier Marathon Field Guide, is the easiest to follow. So that's my go-to. On the right is a Stephen J. O'Mara book, Deep Sky Companions, the Messier Objects. It is a modern update to a book that was pretty much the only book about the Messier objects in the 80s, but it's more of a reference book than an observing guide. So cutting to the chase, what to bring? You want to bring something that shows you approximate locations, like a planisphere. You want to bring locating charts, like the sky spot charts or the cosmic shard deck. And then log sheets. You want to have those showing the sequence and where you can record your observations. Some tips for success: practice, use the navigation tools, bring your warm clothing and snacks, team up with people. Planning it out also is key, and I get really into it. I get where I kind of obsess over the sequence and kind of make a plan, and it's just really fun. I love doing it. And then just go for it. Everybody start somewhere and be persistent, keep at it. You definitely want to keep your log. And there's always a question of what about using go-to scopes? So opinion on this is divided. Some people think it's cheating to use a go-to scope. I feel like any tool that helps you explore the night sky is valuable. I do think that if you really want to say that you completed a marathon, you need to find the things yourself. But I do think it's okay to have a go-to scope there to help you identify something. So for instance, if you're not sure in the Virgo cluster, a notoriously tricky area, if you have a go-to scope that can hone in on something and then you're using your manual scope to find it, I think that counts. Most importantly, get to a dark sky because it makes a huge difference. And like I said earlier, with many objects, you'll be able to pick them off with binoculars or a finder scope. As I've practiced over the years in my own notes, I've started making notes about which ones I can see in the finder scope, because as I practice over and over again, even with ones that I've seen and can locate easily, I am really trying to be able to spot them quickly. For the actual experience, this is getting into the nitty-gritty of actually doing it. You've got easy parts and difficult parts. Some things you can even see naked eye, Andromeda Galaxy, the Pleiades. Some are a lot harder, and there are a couple of really crowded areas. So let's look at those. You're going to start the marathon during twilight, so before it's even dark. The first objects are low in the west, and there are some tricky ones in there. As the night progresses, you'll kind of find your rhythm. You'll work through the winter objects fairly quickly. The spring objects are coming up. There are two known heartbreak hills, the Virgo cluster and the center of the Milky Way. Those are crowded areas, and we'll talk about those in a moment. And then as the sun starts to come up, the very last objects are coming into view. So I've broken this down here into some groups. This is adapted from the Howard Astronomical League in Central Maryland. If you do look up sequences to these, you will find generally very similar, but I really liked the way that Howard Astronomical League broke this up into groups. I myself, when I do it, I've broken it up into even smaller groups than this, more granular, but this is a great overview of it. So from sunset to about 8:30 p.m., they call these the setters. And you're going to grab the first few easy objects, Pleiades, Orion Nebula. With these, the time is very critical for success because of the tricky ones. M74 and M77, those are broad in terms of broad area, low surface brightness. Those are tricky. M31, the Andromeda Galaxy and its companions, and M33, the Triangulum Galaxy. Those are all not hard to find location-wise, but they are going into the setting sun. So there is a race against the clock for these for sure. If you're looking up different sequences for running a marathon, some of the sequences have you save the bright ones for later, like the Pleiades and Orion Nebula, to focus on the first ones. Some of the sequences say, hey, you can pick those off right away before it's even dark, so do it. So it's really kind of up to you. The next phase, roughly 8:30 to 9:30, the winter objects. So nothing here really difficult. Good tip is to go for the more southerly objects first, and then the hard ones, maybe the Crab Nebula and M78 in Orion. Those might be a little difficult. Practicing that helps. The spring objects come up after that, 9:30 to 11 p.m. roughly, and this is generally a bunch of galaxies. According to the generally accepted sequences, you're going to take about 90 minutes to locate about 20 objects. About half of them are in groups and therefore fairly easy and straightforward to locate. And the remaining ones are within a few handfuls of star hops. This is not yet the bulk of the tricky galaxies, which are coming next, but this has you pick off a bunch of galaxies around this point in time. About 11 o'clock is when you are going to hit Heartbreak Hill, the Virgo cluster. This is a notoriously tricky part. And you're looking at bagging 14 to 15 galaxies in an hour. The key is to have a finder chart. And I've got, be ready to grab a screenshot or a pen and pencil to write down, because I've got an article that will really, really help with this. And I'll show you that in a moment. This is definitely where you want to practice in advance. And as you have practiced with marathons and work on them, figure out which eyepiece is your optimal one to use. And you can do a calculation for what the field of view of that eyepiece is so that you can compare to charts. It's especially helpful if, for instance, you can find an eyepiece that gives you a 1 degree field of view or a 1.5 degree field of view. That's very easy to correlate with your charts. I myself have done I took transparency sheets and made circles on them showing my eyepiece relative field of view sizes so that I can move them along the charts. A little overly nerdy, a little involved, a lot helpful. And so I think that's the way, this is my most frustrating area, and that's how I'm going to work on tackling it this year. A key there is knowing which way your visual image inverts, because if you're using a Dobsonian versus a Schmidt-Cassegrain, your mirror image is going to be a little different. So you want to make sure that you know exactly which way your visual image is going to invert. One thing that will help here also is if you have an equatorial mount and if you have setting circles. With the Dobsonian, I don't use the circles on it, but it's an Orion Dobsonian that has the electronic setting circles, but I never use those because I could never get them to line up quite right. But an equatorial mount will help because you can do sweeps for right ascension up and down a lot more easily than kind of classic Dobsonian left, right, up, down. For the Virgo cluster, here is one way that I found online to do it. This shows a sequence for doing it where it was on an equatorial mounted scope, and this is using just right ascension setting circles. Note that this is not the same sequence as some of the published sequences. But this one has you start off with M60, M59, and then you can basically just do, if you're equatorially mounted, do a series of up, down, left, right to go and step through all of these. Another suggestion, and this is from the SEDS website, is to start with M84 and M86. They are the brighter of the Virgo cluster objects. They're quite easy to find, relatively speaking, because they're located halfway between two fairly bright stars. And the recommendation on this one is that you start with those and then capture different sets of them as you kind of radiate out like spokes of a wheel. This is the URL that I mentioned. You might want to write down. This is an issue of Sky and Telescope, May 1994, and it has a really, really good guide for how to tackle the Virgo cluster. And I have digitized it and made a copy at this URL. Their tiny URL /mastering Virgo. So you are welcome to go and download a copy there. I have found it supremely helpful in learning my way around the Virgo cluster and navigating it. And I will again say a key thing here is to know which way your telescope inverts images. From 12 to 2, some people consider it nap time, and that's not necessarily a bad idea. You can also catch up or keep working on the Virgo cluster. From 2 to 4 is another Heartbreak Hill, the summer objects. I think that this is not quite as tricky as the Virgo area, but this is definitely a crowded area and you have to be working quickly. You've got 2 hours to observe 38 objects, generally in the center of the Milky Way. Most of these are fairly easy, globulars and open clusters, but you still have to work pretty quickly. The tricky ones are going to be M83 in Hydra, M75 in Sagittarius, and key here is to have a clear, dark horizon to the southeast. And then finally, the final 5 objects, which nearly all the marathon sequences agree that these are the final ones, are the ones that are coming up as the sun is rising. M15 in Pegasus is fairly easy. M2 in Aquarius, once you can find it, it's fairly easy to see. M72 and M73. M73 is is a quirky little one. It's just a cluster of 4 stars, but they're fairly close to each other. The tricky one on this list is the very last one, which is M30 globular in Capricornus. And that one is only coming up as the sun is coming up. So it is a tricky one. There is a source out there that I can't remember what it is, but this source recommends to find M30. It says, go to this particular star and then just let your scope drift for 5 minutes. So that's, a lot of different tricks for how to do this. And that's a perfectly valid one. So with that, what is next after you have tried or completed a Messier marathon? One thing to do it is to submit your results to the SEDS org. It's kind of fun seeing you get posted there. I do say to our club, post it in our Facebook group. So for your club, whatever analog of that you have, definitely everyone will want to hear about it. The Astronomical League themselves have different awards and certificates and pins for doing observing challenges. And SEDS has an unofficial badge there on their website that you can download. And it's kind of fun to be able to put on your website or just post on social media or something. I don't think this is available for sale now, but at one time a few years ago, Celestron had a Messier Marathon t-shirt. And of course, the best part of doing this is bragging rights. Beyond Messier marathons, there are a few things to do. Binocular Messier marathons, that is possible. It is estimated that you can see most of the 110, anywhere from 75 to 102 of them are the estimates that I read. And the Astronomical League does have a certification with a pin. You can also try a go-to version or a photographic version. When I first got my C-Star S50, I had the idea of being the first person to do a C-Star Messier marathon. Did I ever do it? No. Did someone else do it? Yes. But I love that idea, and I think it's still a great, great idea. And possibly getting quick photos of all of them in one night, that is an accomplishment too, even with a go-to scope or a C-Star. One thing there is that there is a new website called myastrocatalog.com. And I believe it's someone in the UK that put it together. And what they did was they saw a need for being able to create your own photo mosaic. So a photo mosaic, kind of like the ones that we've seen in this deck that show all 110 Messier objects. This person wanted to do that. They wanted to show all the photos they took in one night or something. And they created a program, some software that lets you build your own photo mosaic. And so they have made that available to people at myastrocatalog.com. Off season, you can still view many or most of the objects in a single night. Then some additional challenges. The Caldwell Challenge is another 109 objects that aren't on Messier's list. So these are some well-known ones, also some in the Southern Hemisphere. So the Caldwell Challenge is another possibility that you can do. The Astronomical League does give away a pin for this one. The best time of year is late November. And the good thing about this is it doesn't have to be all in one night. If you view all 109, then you can get the pin. And also it's the all 109, the not just in one night. That's because you can't always see all of them in one night. And particularly if we're Northern Hemisphere people and there are some in the Southern Hemisphere, then we might have to take a vacation or two. The next really big one is the Herschel 400 Club, looking at 400 objects of the 2,500 that Herschel discovered. The Astronomical League does have a program for this and a pin, and this one can take multiple seasons. I do know somebody that just completed this. I don't know how long it took her, but that is quite an accomplishment. And for people who have completed a 110 object Messier marathon, then some interesting, tricky variations are the Messier marathon from memory, either with or without a list. Without a list, has been called the naked M cubed, and that was Tom Hoffelder's idea. And with that, that concludes our presentation here. I say to our club, join us on the fateful night. We're doing it on March 21st and possibly also the 20th. I will be curious to hear if your club is going to do one, and I am anxious to hear how the results are and how you all did. And with that, I will open it up to any questions.
Mig, would it be helpful to be, we're at 40 degrees north latitude. Would it help you to be at 30 or something like that?
I think that technically the answer is yes, but I also think that the correct answer to that is get to the darkest sky you can feasibly get to. If it's a lot easier to get to a dark sky that's at 40 degrees latitude and not have to plan a vacation to somewhere down south, then you're better off just trying it somewhere that you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it is possible from anywhere. So I don't know if it's going to give you a measurable advantage other than the sunset time.
I don't think we can see M30 from Pittsburgh
Okay.
that night in March.
Okay. Well, if
I
you
think that's sun's too high and never see
okay.
it.
There are sites out there that discuss this angle of it, and I believe it's on the SEDS site. There is do a Google search for this, because there is a sequence out there that is specifically for 50 degrees north latitude. So I'm not sure what latitude Pittsburgh is. Oh, you just said 40.
42.
42. But you might be able to take a look at that 50-degree latitude search sequence and kind of pick it apart and figure out some changes to make.
There's a little bit of added history. We had a star party at North Park at Autonomy Barn. Maybe Eric Barr or Eric Fisher were there also. It was, my notes are, I'm looking at now, July 24th of 1976. And I remember Tom Ryland talking to us about the possibility of seeing all the Messiers in one night, or as many as possible. So that's July 24th, 76.
Wow. Okay. Neat.
Yeah. And Jim Mullaney from our club actually suggested the Herschel Club. It was a letter to Sky and Telescope in that same year that he did that. It was published. So,
Oh, great.
yeah.
I would love to look that up. Can one of you drop me a line and tell me that? I'm just MIG at lvastronomy.org.
Yeah. I'll look it up. This is Ed Flynn. MIG. Well, I'll get your MIG.
Yeah. MIG at lvastronomy.org.
Okay, sure.
And I went back to this page, the resources and aids. The last one on this list that is at calgary.rasc.ca, that lets you generate a sequence based on location, date, and time. And that is the site that I believe discusses the 50 degrees north latitude planner and sequence. But give that a try, because how awesome is that somebody has created such a thing that you can key in your location, date, and time, and it will optimize the sequence for you.
I just looked up Paris, and they're at 48 degrees. So if we're at 42, then we have an advantage over Messier.
Yeah.
He didn't try to do them all at one night, though, Joe.
Oh,
That's
well,
true.
that's true.
Mig, if there's no other questions, one off-topic question. The Sphere I'm seeing in Las Vegas, do they do planetarium shows in there?
They do not. And I can actually see the Sphere from my backyard. It's amazing and it's fascinating, and it puts out a ton of light. We have an irony here that we live in one of the worst light polluted cities anywhere, but we can get to pretty dark skies relatively quickly. We can get to Bortle 4 in 1 hour, Bortle 3 in an hour and a half, Bortle 2 in a little more than 2 hours. The Sphere itself does not do planetarium shows because of the economics of it. It's an 18,000 seat theater that was $1 billion over budget. And any show that's in there has to be, you can't just take any touring band and drop it in there. You have to design the entire show from the ground up. So the only shows that they can do in there are bands that can fill it and sell it out night after night, like the Eagles or the Backstreet Boys. And then now they have done the Wizard of Oz there, which has props like apples falling out of the sky and actual robotic flying monkeys that fly around. That show is kind of their cash cow now. The minimum tickets are over $100. But that, as much as I would absolutely love to see a planetarium show in there, I don't think the economics would ever support it because it's just such a costly place, and there probably aren't enough of us astro heads to sell it out night after night, even though I would love that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. Are there any more questions for Meg?
Yeah, the astronomy issue, you said that was March 1979?
Yes.
Thank you.
Or it's a Sky and Telescope,
Or
March
Sky and Telescope.
1979. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I found one on eBay, and it's supposed to be here tomorrow. Not quite in time for tonight, but I'm kind of tickled at getting to have a copy of the original, because as I've done such a deep dive into this, including all the aspects like what light pollution was like at the time, learning the history of it. And I really appreciate a push from Rich here in helping me see the context with your own club. I've really gotten so into the idea of just marathons and the history behind them that I like that I'm tracking down the original artifacts of them.
I sort of wonder if, as light pollution tends to get worse and worse, if we're going to have sort of like a decline in people completing this successfully. The satellites is another thing, which they really don't mess you up that much in this, but still, there's more and more of them that you see.
Yeah. And one thing, this is slightly off topic, but I feel it's important. And that is that yesterday I learned of 2 government initiatives that are really going to affect us collectively. I'm not sure if your club has talked about them, but one is an initiative that's going to put a giant bunch of reflective satellites in space to generate solar power at night. And it's going to mess up dark sky observing big time. And another one is that SpaceX is looking to launch 1 million satellites to be part of a data center. And currently, I believe the estimate is that we have 14,000 satellites up there. So 1 million is such a drastically larger number. And, you know, I'm on a soapbox for a minute, but I think we can all get behind the fact that as astronomy fans, we're not in favor of these. And so I'll send some info over to Rich and John, but the window for being able to publicly document being against this is small. And so we want to, this is being coordinated by the International Dark Sky Organization, but we want to get people to speak up if possible.
Ironically, our club does something called the Satellite Search Party around the summer solstice to see how many we can count rather than, you know, don't fight them, join them, okay? But at some point, that's going to become pointless. There'll be so many satellites, you know. Our record is 94 in one night, so.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And I think about how when I was a kid in the 80s and had my Dobsonian, it was a neat trick to see a satellite pass through the eyepiece when you were looking. And now it happens every single time. If I'm showing new people, they always say, whoa, a shooting star just passed through. And I always say, well, kind of a satellite, but hey, you're lucky anyway. Yeah.
Hey, Meg, if you don't mind, if you could send me these links, just shoot me an email. I'll share them on the club Discord and on our listserv.
Yeah, sure. And who was that was speaking to me?
Rich.
Rich. Okay, great. Yeah, I'll send this over to you.
Thanks.
Rich, don't forget to send me something for the Guide Star when you get them.
I will.
All right. Are there any more questions for Mink before we move on? John, was there any questions in the chat on YouTube? Okay. All righty.
All right.
Well,
Well, thank you, everyone.
thank you. Wonderful presentation.
Thanks.
I think we're all just waiting for the weather to kind of warm up here in Pittsburgh. It's looking a little bit better this week. We were definitely in the lower digits for a while, and also we got some pretty significant snow as well. So I think we're all itching to hopefully get outside here soon. But thank you so much for giving the presentation. You are more than welcome to continue to join us with our business meeting. We'll probably take a break here soon, but yeah, you're more than welcome to stay on.
Okay, I would love to, because I'm always curious to see how anyone else does their meeting. So yeah, I would love to stay on, and I might be out that way in October, so I will give you all a shout.
Yeah,
All right.
please do.
Yeah, come and visit our observatories.
I would love to. Yeah, and as we mentioned in the very beginning, I will happily take any of you out astronomizing if you find yourself in the Las Vegas area. So do give me a shout.
Okay. I just saw that one of our members, Lish, has her hand up. Lish, did you have a question?
No, that was the wrong button. Sorry.
That's okay. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much again. Everyone, we'll go ahead and take a 5-minute break, and then we will reconvene for the business meeting portion of tonight's events. So it's 8:37 p.m. now. So again, we'll just come back at 8:42. All righty. Thank you. All right, thank you. All right, welcome back, everybody, to the business portion of our meetings tonight. Today is February 13th, 2026. My name is Kristen Crawford, president of the 3AP, and I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Thank you again to everybody that joined tonight. If you are on YouTube and if this is your first time, I hope you're enjoying this. Please like and subscribe our channel. We will be having more events, more meetings throughout the year, so definitely don't want to miss out on those. Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, so let's go ahead and recount our January 9th, 2026 meeting minutes. Rich Dolish, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you, our recording secretary.
All right, meeting minutes for January 9th, 2026. Meeting start time 7:30 with a presentation by Rich Dolish. Presentation was about the Library Telescope Program, a history, the present, and the future, past, present, and future. Followed by the business portion of the meeting at 8:40, called to order by Kristen Crawford. Minutes of the November meeting were read by myself. John Diller made the motion to approve the minutes as read, seconded by Lish Bartolozzi. Damn it, I'm going to get it one day, Lish. Astronomical events, upcoming events presented by John Holtz. Jupiter at opposition, lunar occultation, I just can't read tonight, of Regulus, and discussion regarding potential nova eruption of T Corona Borealis, the blaze star. Officer reports. President's Kristen Crawford noted the club's current membership stands at 476 members, expressed hope for clear skies for the new year. John Weskovich announced February speaker will discuss the Messier Marathon. March speaker will present on Beetlejuice. Recording secretary had no updates. Corresponding secretary had no updates. Treasurer Terry Mealy was not present. IT committee Michael Scalvrin was not present. Joyce Osborne Fisher for the Guide Star requested that members clarify if images posted to Discord are final versions or works in progress for publication. Membership secretary had no updates. Kristen read the names of the 4 new members since the December holiday party to be voted on by all attendees. Phil Breidenbach made the motion to accept the new members. Marcus Mueller seconded the motion. The motion passed unanimously. Observatory reports. Eric Fisher reported the following for Wagman. The gate combination is scheduled to change in February. I don't believe it has yet. Technical updates include the repair of the Manca focuser by Mike Miller and Dave Marcianek. There have been new magnetic battery-powered lighting and security cameras installed. Brian Crawford reported the following for Mingo. A telescope help session was scheduled for January 24th. It was kind of a bust due to the cold weather. And that was the only thing for Mingo. Old and new business. We covered the dues increase for 2026, confirming the structure of $30 for students, $50 for individuals, $75 for families. These now include the Astronomical League membership. We talked about the equipment donation from the family of late member Ed Middleman. It was a large equipment donation. We went through it, and it's quite nice, actually. It'll be a nice addition to our club and Star Party. That wasn't minutes, that was just an aside for me. The club confirmed participation in the Northeast Astronomy Forum coming up in April 2026. Patrick Rigger wanted to know if anyone was interested in representing the club in the Pittsburgh St. Patrick's Day on March 14th and suggested you reach out to him or Gail. And a suggestion was made by Phil Breidenbach to nominate John Messier for the Pittsburgh Walk of Fame. Motion to adjourn the meeting was made at 10:18 by Tom Pfeiffer, seconded by Mary Devon. Motion passed unanimously. And those are the minutes.
All righty. Thank you, Rich. Are there any comments or changes to the minutes? Okay. All right. May I get a motion from someone to accept the meeting minutes as read by Rich Dolish for January 9, 2026? Lish, I see a thumbs up. May I get a second, please? Eric Fisher? All right. All those in favor, thumbs up, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any objections, say nay. Thumbs down. Any abstains? Voice, please. All right. Motion passes. Thank you, everybody. All right. Moving on. Look at That by John Holtz. Do you have a slide prepared, John? Did I lose?
All right, sorry.
Oh. No, that's okay.
Couldn't find the window. Yes, I do have slides. So let me try to share this window.
Okay. I stopped sharing, so you should be able to.
All right, I think you can see the slides now.
Yes, we can see them. Thank you.
All right, some of the upcoming.
Hold on. I can't see the slides. I just see John's face.
Well, which would you prefer to see?
Now I see the slides.
Oh, okay. All right, some of the upcoming events, don't worry too much about the February 17th annular eclipse unless you're going down to somewhere near Antarctica. The items in yellow I will highlight a little more because of I think those will be good events. So on February 18th, the crescent moon is very close to the planet Mercury. And if you're in the Gulf states like Florida or Alabama, Mercury will actually be occulted by the moon. And while you're out looking for that, look for Venus much lower in the sky. On the evening of the February 23rd, the Pleiades will be next to the moon. And just a general observation on February 26th, the evening, the moon's going to make a nice rectangle with Jupiter, Pollux, and Castor. Getting into March, we'll talk about the March 3rd total lunar eclipse in a second. On the evening of the 7th and 8th, Saturn's going to be passing 1 degree from Venus. You'll want to use binoculars or a telescope to see that because they're going to be low in the sky. The sky's going to be bright. In the morning of March 13th at approximately 6:10 a.m., that's when the star Tau Sagittarii reappears from the moon's dark limb. And long-range planning on somewhere around April 4th, there's a sun-grazing comet that was recently discovered. May not be visible in the daylight. It may not have a glorious tail, but we have to wait and see. First, it has to survive its perihelion passage. All right, so the eclipse, total lunar eclipse on March 3rd occurs just before sunrise. In fact, as you can see here, moonset is 2 minutes after sunrise. So the totality begins at 6:04 Eastern time. The sky is going to be fairly bright by then, but might be a good opportunity to get some pictures of the eclipse moon, a little bit of twilight, buildings, trees, whatever going on. Get into a few members' photos that have come in over the past week or so. Dan Peden did not take this photo of a solar pillar. One of his acquaintances did from Lake Arthur, Moraine State Park. Pete Zapatka supposedly photographed the aurora in January from Florida. Well, yeah, I guess we have to trust him that this glow somewhere in here is aurora, not light pollution. By the way, Pete is out on a Valentine's date, so he can't be here to clarify his photo. Phil Breidenbach photographed, I think from the notes that this was Jupiter and this is the International Space Station. And this is not from one of our club members. This is from the Delaware Valley Amateur Astronomers, a wonderful composite of Jupiter. And I believe this is Io transiting. The only reason I say that is because you can see it right here, and it has the color, kind of the color of Io and its shadow transiting afterwards. And with that brings us to a discussion of any observations. So other than Pete Zapatka, did anyone else, I think it was January 19th is when the aurora was occurring. I did not see it from the Philadelphia area. I didn't go out all that frequently, but I tried a few times and didn't see anything. And how about the February 2nd occultation of Regulus? I think it was clear in Pittsburgh. It was clear here, but a bit cold.
Phil, didn't you get that?
No, it was not clear from where I was.
Yeah, I don't recall it being clear either. I think it was clouded over here.
Yeah.
All right. I think there were discussions of maybe it's going to be clear, but yeah, now that you mention it, I don't remember seeing any posts on the listserver saying that anyone saw it from out there. And has anyone seen Venus yet? Venus is slowly creeping into the sky.
Not yet.
Yeah, it should be coming visible. It's certainly much easier any day now. You're going to need a good southwest horizon, though.
John, is this going to be a good apparition of Venus this time? I mean, long lasting?
Let's see, it's east of the sun. Yeah, so the ecliptic is favorable in the spring. So yes, it should be a good apparition.
I don't have an observation, but I had a question. Isn't there supposed to be some kind of planetary alignment on the 28th? Is that going to be visible from Pittsburgh?
That's a good question. I haven't heard anything about it. Let's see what we have here.
A bunch of the planets, everything except for Mars, should be visible at the same time in the sky. In the evenings.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the word alignment is misleading.
Yes, Venus going from the sun eastward. It's Venus, Mercury, Saturn, and Neptune, Uranus, and Jupiter.
Yeah, they're all supposed to be lined up, so that might be something neat to see.
Yeah.
John, I saw Antares the other day. It's star of summer coming up in the morning.
Yep.
Yes, in fact, a couple of the events I didn't put in the calendars. The moon will be passing fairly close to Antares, but
We had a real nice looking moon this morning. It was nice and clear out as the sky started getting clearer. It was only, I think, 16% illuminated nice crescent.
I saw that too.
Tomorrow should be nice also. It'll be even skinnier.
Yes, and we're going to have to start looking for Mars. Well, it'll probably be a few months before we can see Mars in the morning skies, but
Alrighty. Are there any more questions for John? Amy?
The lunar eclipse that's on the 3rd, is that visible through the entire United States?
yes, the farther west you are, the better, because it will set in a darker sky.
Okay. Hopefully we won't have clouds, might be able to see something.
Yep, let's hope so. And wow, maybe you can be the first one to do a Messier marathon during a total lunar eclipse.
That would definitely be a record.
Yeah, especially since you'd be doing most of the marathon during the full moon, not during a total eclipse.
Alrighty. If there's no more questions, we're gonna go ahead and move on. You're more than welcome to put something in the chat if something else comes up. All right, so moving on to officer reports. I do not have anything currently. I know we're still in our first quarter, so I added this into our new business, but soon I'm going to be scheduling a executive committee meeting here pretty soon for our first quarter. But that is all I have to report for now. John, do you have anything to report for this meeting?
Sure. I can share that at least tentatively, we have the April and May presentations scheduled. April should be something about stellar evolution, and May should be something about the Martian atmosphere. Those are not 100% confirmed, but at least 80% of the way there. So the next available presentation slot now is all the way out into September. If anybody's interested, let me know.
All right. Thank you, John. It's good to hear that we have those slots filling up. I know it's like sometimes it's like pulling teeth to get presenters. You've been doing a really awesome job these past couple meetings, having them lined up. So thank you. Okay, Rich, anything for recording secretary?
No, nothing from recording secretary.
Okay, thank you. Lish, anything for corresponding?
Nothing at this time, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, I believe Gail and Patrick might be on, at least last time I looked. Gail, did you have anything to report from membership secretary?
You're out there somewhere.
All right, I can wait and see if something comes up in the chat. Okay, Treasurer Terry Mealy, I do not believe he is on tonight.
No, he told me yesterday he couldn't make it tonight.
Okay, so even though he is not here to give a report, I do want to report that Terry did send out a treasurer's report to the executive committee on February 1st. I'm not going to go in full detail of the report, but I just wanted to at least let the club members know kind of just where we are standing for, expenses for 2025, and also just anything else that needed to be reported. So he did put in income and expenses from January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2025. Income-wise for the club, this is including donations, memberships. We were at an income about $15,000. And also, sorry, my dog's coughing. My apologies. Are you done? Okay, thank you. Sorry, he's one of my senior kids. All right, expenses. Again, this is for the total year. Again, January through December. Expenses total was $66,999.
Kristen, just if anybody is talking to Terry, please thank him. Allegheny County Parks Department is making him jump through hoops to provide electric usage reports for Wagman in excruciating detail. It's a lot of hard work. So if you're talking to Terry, give him an attaboy, okay?
All right, will do, Eric. Thank you. All right. That's all I was going to report on that for right now. I just wanted to let everybody know kind of where we stood for last year for 2025. The majority of the expenses, which I do believe was something that needed to be done, was a lot of the excavating up at Wagman. However, just to kind of give a standpoint in regard to the membership dues that was increased, I thought maybe that would be kind of just a nice piece of information to let everybody know, just kind of where the club was standing. No fear though, the club, still has, a balance. So as of right now, we're okay. But again, just wanted to share with the general membership. Are there any questions? Okay. All right. Moving on, I do not believe I saw Michael Scovern online tonight. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, I do not believe so. I know Michael has been busy updating some of the renewal and also like just the membership signups online. If anybody is noticing any problems, I know at this point we are done with our grace period. So if everybody, went ahead and renewed their membership, everybody should be current at this point. So there's no more grace period. If anybody else who isn't getting emails or is not, or felt that they did put in a renewal and something is still getting hung up, please reach out to Michael, or you can also email me at president@3ap.org, and I can also send that off to Michael as well too. All right, GuideStar. Joyce, do you have anything to report?
Well, I'd just like to give everybody a heads up about an interesting events that are coming up with a sister organization. The Moonshot Museum is starting a program of 21 plus nights. And the first one is in March, and the topic will be Women in Space with a panel discussion and various other things, and adult libations, I believe. And more information on that will be in the GuideStar. But otherwise, that's it for the GuideStar.
All right. Are there any questions for Joyce or any of the other officers? Okay. All right. Before we go to, I believe next is the observatory reports. I asked, I'm sorry, never mind. I guess we're on to new members. Sorry, I got my slides a little mixed up, but that's okay. All right. So like Rich had said, for the previous minutes for January, this is before we ended with that grace period for our membership renewals. Right now, we are sitting at 312 in total memberships. So we were at 476. I'm hopeful that maybe there are some individuals that may have forgotten to add that to their calendar to renew. So again, if anybody has any emails or somebody reaches out, please give them Gail's information or Michael Scovern if they're having issues online. All right, so since our last meeting from January 9th up until this day, we have 3 new members. Raymond Malucky, Yilin Kai, and Tyler Ranth-Hiller. May I get a motion to accept these new members into our wonderful club? I think, Tom, I saw your hand go up first. May I have a second? All right, Joyce? All those in favor, say aye. Thumbs up, please.
Aye.
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 All right. Objections, nay, or thumbs down? All right. Abstains, please voice. All right. Motion passes. Thank you very much and welcome to our new members of our organization. We're excited to have you. All right. Okay, so before we get into observatory reports, John Stupp, could you please give us a quick update on Discord? I believe you had put a notice out to everybody about some upcoming changes. If you just want to briefly go over that way if anybody has questions.
Yeah, sure. So for those of you on the Discord server, you might have already been aware of these changes since we posted about them a couple days ago. For those of you not familiar, Discord is adding some age verification settings to user accounts. So what this will mean is, as of right now, it'll start rolling out in March. All user accounts will be set to an age-restricted teenage setting. Basically, this doesn't really affect our server at all. We're family friendly. We don't have any of our channels, text channels or voice channels or anything marked as age restricted or not safe for work, NSFW. Since we don't do that, joining our server if you're on an age restricted account doesn't change anything. You'll still be able to participate in all of our channel chats. You won't be restricted in any way on the server. There may be some other behavioral things you'll notice across Discord. We can't control that. This is down to the user account. We are not requiring you to do the age verification if you want a fully adult appropriate account through Discord. That is entirely up to you. So, that's kind of where we're at on this. We don't really see anything negative happening with our server or negative happening with users that join our server. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me through Discord. As we get closer to March, there may be more information released by Discord. There is a very, very extremely large uproar happening online against the company. There is an opportunity for them to backtrack this or change how it functions, but as of right now, this seems to be the path that they're going down. If more information becomes available, I'll try and let the club know and provide links so everyone can figure it out. But like I said, if you have any questions, please reach out to me regarding this. And I'll try and answer the questions to the best of my ability. So thanks.
All right, thank you, John. Does anybody have any questions for John right now regarding Discord? Okay, all right. Just like John said, if anybody does have questions later, please reach out to him on Discord. And thank you again, John, for keeping us updated and being available to also answer questions. All right, moving on to observatory reports. Eric, would you like to speak about Wagman?
Right. Obviously, there's not a lot of news at Wagman because we're snowed out. Like you're snowed in during the storm. We were snowed out from getting in the door. Mike Miller did go up there and check out the site. So as soon as the snow melts a bit, I think he or someone will get in there, and there's a little tiny key about as big as your fingernail. We need to change the gate combination. When that changes, you'll be notified, and the number will appear on the 3AP, the member section of the 3ap.org website. We also have some happy news, good news about the observatory, which we can't reveal right now, but in the next month we'll be announcing this. And I want to leave it at that right now, but some good news. And finally, I was talking to Dave Marcijanek. He's one of our committee members. I want to go up to Wagman at the worst possible time. And what's that? Right before a major thunderstorm. High winds, lightning, the whole 9 yards. It's kind of like a storm chaser. We're going to get in the building, close the doors, flashlights if the power goes out, and see how the building does from the inside. In other words, are there water leaks? Do the roofs flutters? That sort of thing. So it'll be kind of short notice based on the weather sometime in April. When we get our first really bad thunderstorms, we're going to sit in the building and see how it does from the inside. And that's, Mike and Jody, anything you want to add?
I might be going over tomorrow and changing the code. I was there the other day and I had to hack all the ice away from the door to get it to open. So I am able to get in now.
Okay.
But the gate itself does have a lot of snow on it. So.
All righty. Does anybody have any questions for Eric or Mike?
I have a lot of questions for Eric, but it doesn't require Wagman.
Okay. All right. We'll go ahead and move on. If anybody does have questions for them later on or after the meeting, please reach out to them for Wagman Director at 3ap.com. Also, Mike Miller, Associate Director, and also Jody Farr, who was not present tonight. All right, so for Mingo, I know the Mingo director is not available tonight. I did not see if Heather was on. I don't think she is. And I don't believe Mike Metney is on. However, the only thing Brian did update me on is Mingo has not changed their gate code as well. So I believe they were waiting for warmer temperatures for that change to take place. So just like Wagman, we will keep everybody updated as to when that will occur. Other than that, he said they're basically, it's just waiting for the thaw to happen. It's just been very cold. I do believe right when the big snowfall took place, Mingo had put down some road restrictions because I guess something about, I don't know if it was their maintenance, but you just basically couldn't get through the park. Like the snow wasn't really cleared out. I haven't received notice that that's still an issue right now. I just know sometimes the lock can get a little finicky whenever it's extremely cold outside. But I think Mike Metney did take a drive up there just to make sure everything was okay. And so far, I do not believe there's been any problems reported. So,
Christian, I know, I think Brian went up last night to meet a new member for a loaner scope, so I believe you can get to the observatory.
So he did not go last night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He was supposed to. I don't know. I didn't ask him if something changed. I just know when I woke up to go to work, he was still here. So I was like, okay. But yeah, so no, he did not go last night. But yeah, like I said, I believe Brian has not gotten any notice from Mingo that there are, any issues. They're pretty good about letting us know if something is wrong. And like I said, I am almost certain that Mike Metney may have gone up there just because, he lives so close to the park. So, but I'm sure, like I said, Brian will let us know if something's going on.
Right. Well, Kristen, I've been emailing back and forth with Becky Nichols, and she's lining up her guest speakers for the Haddad Planetarium talks during the year. I took the June slot, but she's going to be reaching out to other potential guest speakers.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. All righty. Does anybody else have anything for observatory reports? All right, we'll go ahead and move on. Thank you. All to new business. All right, so for old business, we did talk about the gear donation by the family of Ed Middleman. Rich, I know during the minutes, you kind of gave a brief update. I know you sent everybody out a list as well too, as to the donated items. Was there any other updates? I know the family wrote back and thanked us for responding so quickly.
Yeah, I provided a list to the family so they could get their tax deduction. I put an estimated value based on the quality of the quality of the gear, the condition of the gear. I mean, we have, I want to say 3 8-inch SCTs. One might be a 9-inch. There's a 6-inch Daub. There's a pair of 80 by big pair of Orion binoculars. I can't remember the exact 25 by 80, I think. They do have a chip in the one lens, but it's not visible when I'm looking through it. But it's a lot of eyepieces. There's a nice set of eyepieces we can use for the gift table for next year. Just some really nice, good gear for our loaner program.
All right, wonderful. Thank you, Rich. Does anybody have any questions or comments for the gear donation?
Yeah, I have the 90 millimeter Celestron refractor at my house. I think I've repaired the focuser on it, but we'll have to get it outside to see.
All right, thank you, Mike. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay. All right, moving on. So again, we were talking about the online store for 2026. I believe, again, Rich has some updates on that. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to him.
The online store is live. My thanks to Heather, to Laura for designing the merchandise, for Terry putting the work in to fill out the tax forms and get the payment process. We'll be sending out the link a little bit later. It's not perfect there. I've been monitoring the few orders that we've come in from those of us who know. So there are some products that are going to have to change because there were just some issues of where they're being shipped from or the embroidery. So it's a work in progress, but it is live. So it's a Printify pop-up store. There'll be a link sent out. You can go there. There's no expense to the club. You place your order, you pay for it with your credit card. It goes to whatever printer or manufacturer is making the product. They print, embroider, whatever, ship it to you. They take their part of the payment, and then the club gets X amount. I'm not even sure what the percentage, but the club gets X amount of dollars for each time you place an order. So there's no expense to the club. Once it gets going, there should be no work for the club. I'm monitoring it right now just to make sure it all runs smoothly. But once we get it up and running, it should be okay. And like I said, it's a work in progress. So there's products in there that we may not be able to keep. We may add products, we may take them away. We'll see. Joyce.
So we have to use the vendors that Printify goes with, or can we use our vendor?
No, we use whatever Printify says, whatever they're going to, because there are certain requirements that we needed. So it it automatically picks the vendor. So you have the
Okay.
option of the shirts or whatever, and it sends it to the right printer.
Okay. Thank you.
John?
So I was one of the ones that kind of got early access to the link. So my initial thoughts on the store, it's a very good job done by everyone involved, first off. But I have some critiques about it, and I kind of have some concerns. Number one concern is just the number of products that we have, and kind of just the public perception of said products. I know when we had some initial conversations about it, we kind of talked about it more as just, some t-shirts and a hoodie and a jacket or some sweaters or some basic stuff that people would like, both members and public. Looking at it now, there's etched whiskey glasses and etched pint glasses and a bunch of extra stuff, and I'm kind of worried, and this may just be my own paranoia, but the public perception of the storefront will be we're out to try and grab as much money as we can versus we're just trying to have some products available for people to utilize. And then also my number one concern with print on demand stuff is sometimes it's not of the highest quality. So I saw like there are some bracelets and necklaces on there. My concern, granted, we're not talking hundreds of dollars for one necklace. So obviously the expectation should be you're not getting gold or nickel or any high type quality metal, but again, it comes down to public perception. I don't want people buying something for $30 off of our storefront, getting it, and then feeling like they got gypped and having a negative taste in their mouth about the 3AP because it's our storefront and our web front. So I guess what I'm trying to say is maybe for our go live, we just have some t-shirts and hoodies and basic things and kind of see how the storefront goes. And then if, we see there's a demand for, accessories and stuff beyond just the basic things, maybe we expand from there.
Yeah, what I'd like to do is before we actually put it on our website, we send it to the members. We do sort of a soft open. So this is my first experience with it. I've never done anything like it. It's a lot trial and error. So yeah, we're going to see what happens. And I do want to tell everyone with these pop-up stores, there's no buyer remorse returns. They will take care of you if it's damaged or if it's a poor quality. But if you buy it and decide you don't like it, it's not Amazon. You can't ship it back and get your money. So it's really only returns or refund. It's only really replacement for damaged goods. Just something to be aware. But yeah, and I agree with you, John. I think there's a lot of stuff on there. Part of it, I think Laura and Heather have been wanting this store for so long that they really just went a little crazy to get the merchandise out there. But I think after a couple of weeks, we'll see what's selling, what the members want, and we'll go from there. But it's a very valid point. Any other questions about the store? Okay, we'll be posting it. There'll be a GuideStar Express going out with data, and we'll be posting it on Discord. So keep your eyes out.
Rich, just a real fast question. Just in case anybody is curious, for obviously online, so payment wise, is it like a PayPal only, or does it accept anything?
No, it's going through Stripe, and it'll take Visa, MasterCard. It'll take your credit cards, your major credit cards.
Okay, I just thought I'd verify just in case anybody was curious. Okay, thank you. Anybody else have questions?
Yeah, just one quick question for me. Is that going to be what the final URL is for the webpage for the Printify, or is that temporary? Because it does to me look like a little bit of a scam website.
No, that's when you get the Printify pop-up, that's what it looks like. So that's going to be the final website, unless we update it. We can always change it. That's a good point, though. I think we can change it. I'll have to look. Like I said, it's all new to me too, so it's a learning curve.
Okay, are there any other questions? Rich, would you be open if anybody online, if, you know, I know we've talked about this before, we've reached out, but if anybody, you know, does have experience, I know we have some new names on here with, like, you know, storefront. Are you open to having them reach out to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and move on here. So the next thing under old business is we were talking about NEAF 2026. And again, I know Brian's not on tonight. I do believe they've had a couple meetings. They did finalize their ticket purchase, so the 3AP will definitely be there. I did have one member reach out asking if we were going to be there, and so I of course replied back and let them know that we are. If any members are going to NEAF 2026, I believe we did a channel on Discord last year or the year before for NEAF. So you could always, yes, John.
I can kind of elaborate on some of the NEAF stuff if you'd like.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Okay. So, yeah, so we'll have, we have a NEAF channel already open on the Discord. In past years, we tried to do it as NEAF 2025 or NEAF 2024. We went away from that. It is just the NEAF channel now. So it'll be up all year round and it'll stay up throughout the years. So you can chat year round regarding NEAF. As far as the group goes, we've kind of gotten everything lined up. The booth has been purchased, all the side stuff. We have discussed postcards. We did postcards last year, and we distributed the leftovers to the observatories. We have gone through and gotten a new round of photos for those. And potentially this year we'll have some postcards featuring the Mingo and Wagman observatories and the telescopes of them. So we will actually have some stuff tied to the 3AP, not just from our astrophotographers.
All right, wonderful. Are there any questions for John? Do we know how many people are going from the 3AP altogether? I know, like I said, I know you guys have been meeting, but I don't know what the final count was.
I think we just got our 6th member the other night. So mostly the same crew from last year is going. Brian isn't this year. So Lish is going in his place. I believe Jody is 50-50 right now. So I believe Scott Smith has been brought on as the newest member to the crew. Rich will be going to NEAF, but he'll be doing the library program booth. So
okay,
he'll be there, but just not at our table.
Actually, I'm going to try to do double duty, so I'll be back and forth between the two.
Okay. He's a madman.
All righty. Good to know. If any members have questions or if they want to keep up with the info with the, we'll just say the NEAF team, check out Discord. You can also reach out to Mingo Director at 3AP if you need any more information. But yeah, hopefully it'll be a good turnout again this year. I know you guys had a great time last year, so cross fingers. Hopefully no fire alarms either. Or evacuations. Was that NEAF last year or the year before? I can't remember.
No, that was last year. We had the fire alarm and evacuation.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, so hopefully all goes well this year.
Yeah, this is why you do not put electrical wires around swimming pools or below swimming pools.
Oh, yeah, very good point.
Yeah.
Very good point. Oh my. All right. Okay, does anybody have any final questions, comments for old business?
I put the link to the store in the chat if anyone wants to see it.
All right, thank you, Rich. All right, we'll go ahead and move on to new business. So this is just a reminder that upcoming officer elections are going to be taking place. So usually we start that in April, and then May is usually when we do, I believe, the announcement. I feel like I'm always like 1 month off, and I'm pretty sure that's whenever it happens. It sneaks up so quickly as well, too. I know, like I said, I know it's a little early, but if anybody is interested in being a nomination committee chairperson, so for those of you that are new, basically this person is going to be the chairperson of the nominating committee. They're the ones that are going to reach out to the current officers to see if they are going to stay within office. So the president, vice president, corresponding membership secretary all have a 1-year term, and then treasurer is a 5-year, I believe. And I always ask Terry this, and I always forget whether or not if that election is coming up. So I don't think it's this year. It might be next year. Anybody on the executive?
I think, Kristen, I think it is this year, but don't quote me on that.
Okay. I'll have to ask him because I always forget. So anyway, so that chairperson, again, puts that committee together to, again, just go over with the current officers if they're going to go through with trying to get nominated or, be in those officer positions for the next year. Usually the committee is the chairperson and 2 other individuals. They're also going to be conducting the voting for the general membership. So they'll put the ballots out. We used to do a mailing, but in recent years, we've moved to electronic, which seems to be working a lot better. We do have the option for mail-in ballots and also in-person voting the day of the closing of the elections, which would be during that May meeting. So, there are still options, but moving forward, if anybody is interested, I will say this, if anybody that might be interested in being nomination for that chairperson, which again, I'm actually the one that would be doing the nominating as president, I would like it to be somebody that's not looking for election for, as an officer, if that makes sense. So I would like to keep it as neutral as possible. Obviously, if nobody will volunteer, or like I said, I could be that person to just say, guess what, you're doing it. But anyway, I would like to see anybody that is, not currently an officer or going for an officer position, be on the nominating committee and or the chairperson. All right, Joyce, I saw you have your hand up.
And then the other purpose of the nominating committee is that if any individual who is not presently an officer but wishes to run for one of the officer positions, that is who they would contact to make that known. Right? Someone on the nominating committee is who they would contact to say, I want to run for X office. It's not just the present officers.
Yes, that is correct. I think, nominating wise, yeah, we'll just say it goes both ways. Maybe that's the best way to put it. But yeah. All right, Rich, do you have something?
Yeah, I mean, I've done the nominating committee the last 2 years, and I was the one who set up the online voting. Whoever takes this, I'll happily consult with you to walk you through it. We have a special email set up for the, I can't think of the Election Buddy. That was it, electionbuddy.com that we use. So we have an account there. I'm happy to consult. I won't be on the committee since I'll be running, but I'm happy to consult with anyone who does it to walk you through it.
All right, thank you, Rich. And for those, again, just reach out to me if you are interested. Like I said, I'm not gonna appoint anybody just yet. I believe the appointment will take place in April. But also, you know, if you want to show interest in even just being on the committee, I can also pass that along to the chairperson once that person is appointed. All right, any questions?
Just an FYI, it's normally the chairperson and 2 committee members.
Yes, that is
per the
correct.
bylaws.
Yes, that is correct. All right. Okay. And then next thing for new business is, again, I mentioned this earlier, that we are going to be having to schedule a executive meeting for the first quarter. I was waiting for the vote of confidence to take place for the directors. And I believe Wagman, they completed. Mingo, I think they were in the midst of almost completion. I don't know if it's been finalized, but I know they had started that. So I just kind of wanted to make sure we had all our ducks in a row before having our first meeting. So for those tonight that are on the executive committee, I will be sending out a save the date or, you know, seeing availability here very shortly. Does anybody else have anything real quick that needs added to new business? Again, I know it's, you know, it's the winter months, so there hasn't been too much going on. I have been checking the emails. I know some Astro League seminars have come up. I also know that I think there was an email about Astroblast not too long ago. I think that's, I want to say May 13th, that weekend. I think it's the 13th through the 17th. But other than that, it's been pretty quiet. Eric, you have your hand up. Do you have a question? Oh, you're muted.
I knew that. Okay, very quickly, Kristen, I don't want to drag this out. Any news on the schedule cards?
Yes, so Brian did order those. I do have them. I believe, I asked Brian, I think they're at Mingo. I think I also have some here at the house as well, too. I am just, like for you, I know Dan Peden had reached out. I am still working at Green Tree at Quest Diagnostics. My schedule is like midnight shift. So if you want to come and meet in the morning, that can be doable. Just let me know. I know morning traffic can be very hectic. So I know so, you know, whatever's going to be easier, or if we want to try to, you know, meet somewhere else, you know, like a Mingo or something, that also can be an option. Okay. Dan, did you have something?
Yeah, Kristen, I just emailed you about this a little while ago. I guess you work the night shift, right?
Yes, I do.
What time do you arrive at work?
I'm sorry, could you repeat what you asked? I apologize.
Get to work.
What time do I work?
What time do you get there?
Oh, what time do I get there? Anywhere between 10 and 11 p.m.
Okay.
Is usually when
I could meet you there then. See, like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, that's the middle of the night for me. I don't get up till like noon. So, you know, yeah, but I mean, I'll just be heading out to the bars, you know, around 10:30, 11 o'clock. So,
okay.
I could meet you there. you know. So I'll email you, or you can email me and let me know a good day for it.
Yeah, same with me, Kristen. I don't mind coming in late like that.
Okay. Yeah, I figured it would probably be easier than trying to hit that morning Pittsburgh traffic. Like, who wants to do that if you don't have to?
Right. And Kristen, the only other thing I had is fingers crossed I may have found a site for the Christmas party, this year's Christmas party in the North Hills, Elfinwild Fire Department, much bigger parking lot than Shaler Villa. So fingers crossed that they have an opening for us. I'll let you know.
Okay, yeah. And, if you guys all agree on it, make sure you reach out to Terry right away so you guys can get that booked. I know normally they ask for a deposit. So, just as soon as you guys are like, yes, we're going to go ahead, like, make sure you contact Terry, because I know, especially around the holidays, the fire halls, they will book up really quick.
I know, and that's my fear that the dates are taken, but for Monday afternoon, I should know.
Okay, sounds good. All right, does anybody else have any questions, comments for new business? Amy?
Yes, I got to go to Astro Awards Live in about 3 weeks ago, and it was a lot of aerospace companies there. I don't know if people follow Everyday Astronaut, the YouTuber. He has put on this convention party. So we had Astrolabs was there with the tires. They had Firefly Aerospace was there with the lander, a model of it. For M2 mission, we got to see exclusive pictures that have not been released to the public yet. They had an exhibit hall with vendors, and then they had panel discussions. Lori Garver was on one, Eric Berger. They were on Space Books. They had Scott Manley and some YouTubers did like a Jeopardy type game with space missions. So it was really fun. It was really inclusive. I don't have a tech background. They had Scott Manley DJ'd one night. They had Everyday Astronaut and his band played. So it was a lot of fun. And I actually won my ticket through the Planetary Association. So it was really fun. If anybody gets a chance to go, they should go. I know Austin's a bit of a haul for some people. And then also coming up is Yuri's Night. They have parties globally to commemorate, the first man into space. And it will be April 12th. And that's going to be the 25th anniversary this year. I may or may not be going to Space Coast for this. But that's something maybe we could consider next year is hosting one. And maybe doing it in conjunction with Moonshot. Or we could do it out at one of the observatories.
Okay, yeah. I mean, if you want to pass some information on for, the directors or, potentially coordinate something, I'm definitely all open ears for that.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Mm-hmm. All right. Is there anything else for new business? Patrick, oh, we can't hear you. I can hear, like, it sounds like background, but like we can't hear your voice though.
No.
Yeah, still can't hear you, Patrick. I'm sorry. Oh, new microphone problem. Okay. If you just want to put it in the chat. I was going to say, I know, I was going to go to event reminder. So I don't know if you were bringing up the St. Patrick's Day parade. I know you guys were getting the banner.
Yeah, can't hear him.
Yeah, still can't hear you. I would just, like I said, I would just put something in the chat. There we go. Okay. All right. So again, St. Patrick's Day Parade. I'll wait for Patrick to put some.
How about now?
Now we can hear you.
Okay. Oh, this is driving me crazy. All right. It worked with another app for something else. Apparently, Google Meets doesn't like it. All right. For the St. Patrick's Day Parade, I just need the banner, and I need to get something to hook onto it so we can carry it. If anybody wants to participate, the application for the parade asks how many people are going to be in the group. So if anybody wants to participate, they need to let us know. The application needs to be turned in by March 1st.
So maybe
So,
put a sign up
yeah, so it's
last week of February.
So, that's a little over 2 weeks away.
Patrick, we'll send out a GuideStar Express on that.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. Maybe I can ask some IT personnel if they can maybe make a spreadsheet online and make it shareable for signups. And then Patrick and Gail, maybe also include some information as to where everybody needs to meet for the parade, and also some times as well too, because I know it gets really busy for the St. Patrick's Day Parade as well. So just make sure you've maybe just add that information in there as well.
Where would you want this?
Maybe Discord. Also, maybe send it to Joyce for the GuideStar.
Which channel on Discord? General?
Yeah, I mean, or events. I think we have an events channel.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so moving on. Oh, and actually, do I have a volunteer, an IT personnel that can make a spreadsheet for that? Pretty pleased with a cherry on top. Okay, I'll wait. All right. Not putting names out there, but I'm kind of looking at either maybe a Mike Miller or a John Stump, but just a couple names there. All right, so Avonworth Cub Scouts. Rich, I didn't see any cancel. I know the original got canceled due to weather. Are we still planned for February 26th?
As of this moment, yes. February Pittsburgh, who knows? But yeah, we're gonna shoot for February 26th, and I will update probably the 22nd or 23rd to verify that.
Okay. And then do you still need volunteers for that?
I think we have a couple. Everyone is welcome. Anyone is welcome. But I know we'll have a couple. I think it's Bob Fryman's grandson's troop, maybe.
Yeah, that's correct.
Oh, there he is. So yeah, so we do have some volunteers that'll be out there, but everyone is welcome. Cub Scouts, they're fun.
Yeah, I know that's their regular Cub Scout meeting night, and it's only from like 6:30 to 7:30. I mean, they're little kids; they got to get home and get to bed for school the next day.
Yeah, it's a short one, so it's not going to be an all-night event.
Okay. All right, sounds good. If anybody is interested in participating, reach out to Rich. All right, and then just a reminder, so I know we're biting at the bits here, but April will start kicking off our observatory star parties. So make sure you check your calendars, reach out to the, oh my gosh, the directors if you are planning on attending to volunteer. Much appreciated. Hopefully it'll be a good year. I'm hoping for good weather. All right, are there any other event reminders? Okay, all right. Oh, whoops, I forgot to update that. My bad. But our next meeting, my apologies. Let me look at the date here.
It's another Friday the 13th.
Oh yeah, maybe that's, I probably saw 13th and that's what happened. That's funny. Okay, yeah, it would actually be, yeah, March 13th online. Oh, somebody put into the chat, if any of the NEEF members want to take a look at the chat, they were asking best place to stay at. I don't know what I just did, but oh wait, I know what I did. Let me go back. Alrighty. Okay, so again, thank you for joining tonight. Can I get a motion? Oh, do we have questions or are we trying to adjourn? You guys are jumping the gun here.
Okay.
All right.
I have something to announce. The next quaffing is March 7th at Pasta 2 in the South Hills, just north of the entrance to South Park on Corrigan. It's north of the intersection, though. And it's at 2 in the afternoon. As I age, I find that eating at, later on in the evening is not something that used to, that as fun as it used to be. So I think it'd be a good idea to switch these to Saturday afternoons.
Okay. All right. So you said March 7th at 2 o'clock at Pasta 2 in South Hills, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. If anybody is interested in joining, please reach out to John Diller to get a head count for RSVP. All right. Is there anything else? Okay. All right. May I get a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting?
On your mark, get set, go.
Joyce. I'm telling you, she jumped the gun earlier. She was ready. It's past her bedtime. All righty. So Joyce was first. May I have a second, please? Rich, I'll give it to you just because I think you did like a glitter heart.
You had to be a little different. You got to get noticed. That's the key.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and give it to you. All right. All those in favor, say yes, thumbs up.
Yes, aye, or whatever. Yeah.
Sean's like, I will take whatever. All right. If there are any
I just want to go. I just want to go check out the pop-up store.
Links are in the chat.
Oh, I'm already on it.
No. Joyce, I'm in the middle of voting right now. Could we wait on questioning?
Jumping the gun again.
I know.
No, that wasn't a question. That was why. That was an answer to your.
Hold on, Joyce. Let me finish. All right. Okay. I think, I don't know if I asked. I apologize. Were there any objections, nay or thumbs down? All right. Abstains, please voice. All right. Motion accepted. We are adjourned for a meeting. Okay, Joyce, go ahead and ask your question.